Hey everyone, I'm back at it, this time headed into Popeyes, and I'm getting a serious sense of deja vu with their latest promos. Let's see exactly why that is after we set ourselves up to that drive-thru.
Welcome to Peep This Out Reviews with Ian K.
Stay frosty.
Hello, welcome back to Popeyes. What can I get for you?
Yeah, peep this out. Can I go for that $5.99 promo for the wild honey mustard boneless wings, please?
Alright, and what would you like for the side?
Let's go with red beans and rice, please.
Red beans and rice?
Yeah.
Anything else?
You know what? Let's go with one of those pumpkin cream cheese pies as well. That'll be cool.
$7.97.
Cool. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Come on, it's pumpkin season. You know I had to go in on that dessert, right?
Hello,
Hey.
$7.97, please.
Yeah, how you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Very cool, very cool. Thank you.
My pleasure.
So any word on when that mythical chicken sandwich is going to be back in stock again?
October.
October?
Somewhere October, like at the end though.
Nice,
Did you want
nice.
the honey mustard or?
It's the wild one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
There you are.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Have
Stay
a good
frosty, we'll see ya. All right, guys, let's peep this out. Yes, sir, that familiar Popeyes aroma is lighting up my car lovely right now as we go in their wild honey mustard boneless wings. A very lovely situation indeed, guys. This is looking really tasty. What we've got is 7 pieces of 100% white meat fried up to a crispy golden brown. Of course, we get all the Louisiana seasonings mixed in there to go with. We've got one of the world famous biscuits on the side, and speaking of sides, decided to go with red beans and rice. Now for dipping, here's where the deja vu comes in. We've got some wild honey mustard sauce, and we'll talk more about that as the review goes on, but definitely a spiced up honey mustard for sure. This is definitely gonna be pretty awesome. And for dessert, check this out. I decided to go with their pumpkin cream cheese pie, and I have to admit this is a little on the small side. Basically a turnover style pastry stuffed with pumpkin and cream cheese. Looking pretty decent, at least in that department there, because the outside looks nice and crispy, I have to say. Topped off with cinnamon and sugar, but a little on the small side, I have to say here, guys. But for a sweet treat to finish this one out, we'll definitely go for it and give it a shot. Let's see if this one delivers in the flavor, though. This is the wild honey mustard boneless wings promo along with the pumpkin cream cheese pie from Popeyes. Let's peep out this flavor. Yeah, this chicken is looking and smelling pretty lovely right now, and I can't wait to get into it with some of this familiar wild honey mustard sauce, along with checking out that pumpkin cream cheese pie. I think that's going to be pretty good as well. But as always, before we get started, if you guys are fans of high-quality, delicious-looking food reviews, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below, and don't forget to tap the bell icon so you can be notified as soon as new content drops every week. Now, guys, I've reviewed their boneless wings a million times in the past and all the different variations they've come out with over the years, so let me go for a quick bite of this solo before the sauce to give you a breakdown, and then we'll get further into it. Always a treat. Starting off with the obvious, the nice crunchiness on the outside of the coating itself, a little bit of the spice, the marinated seasoning coming through. Very familiar Popeyes as usual. Nice juicy white meat on the inside as well too, and that's usually not the case. And I don't mean not the case in terms of Popeyes, I mean in general, because white meat tends to be a little bit drier than normal, and I have to admit, this is still pretty juicy. So one more bite of this one, the close-up, and then you know we're gonna get into some sauce right after. Let's go for it. You can kind of see a little bit of the redness on the outside of the chicken itself, guys, but as you can see, a very decent amount of white meat, and the coating is nice and crispy. Fried up to a crispy golden brown as always, and always just a very lovely situation. Lots of tasty goodness and the very familiar Popeyes flavor. And given that this is typically normally a $5 promo as it's been in the past, the fact that it's $5.99 means we have just a little bit more pieces of chicken in here. So we've got 7 pieces total, and I'm not hating on that at all, guys. Really tasty. All right, so this wild honey mustard sauce and that sense of deja vu that I'm telling you guys about, this is actually something that came out about 3 years ago with the Southern Fare chicken tenders that I actually reviewed. You guys can take a look at that review popping up on your screen right now. This is my second favorite dipping sauce of all time, while the honey mustard version is. The spiced version, which is essentially what this is the wild portion. So I love honey mustard. It holds a special place in my heart. Ranch is obviously my number one. But with this being kicked up with spice, I'm excited to see if that flavor is going to translate the same way as it did back then with the Southern Fare chicken tenders, because that was a very cool outer coating to have with the spicy honey mustard. But let's go for it and see. Well, hopefully you can kind of see on the inside, this is pretty much the standard honey mustard, but there are little bits of red flakes kind of spread out throughout here to give you a little bit of that spice. That's where the wild's coming from. Obviously, it's nice and thick. Standard honey mustard goodness that really soaks up into the nooks and crannies of the boneless wing. Let's confirm that flavor for you. Man, I love the smell of honey mustard. Let's do it. Exactly the same thing. It's good with the standard coating, though, on the outside. And while I did actually prefer the sauce with the outside coating of the Southern Fare chicken tenders, I believe it was like a cornmeal type coating. This is actually really good with the standard goodness because it's still honey mustard with just a little bit of heat, but it's so minor, but it's tasty. Really good, though. All right, let me go for another nugget here because why not? Since this is the main focus of this review, essentially, to give this one a go. The familiarity is there. The flavor is definitely there. It's nice and sweet, nice rich honey mustard flavor with just a little bit of heat in the back end, but very, very little. Yep. Here's another quick shot of one of these boneless wings, guys. As you can see, a very decent amount of white meat on the inside and a very decent amount of coating on most of them as well. Some are a little bit heavier than others, but generally a very solid piece of meat for sure. And of course, you have that wild honey mustard sauce to go with on top there. Just a nice combination overall and a nice retread of what was really a tasty sauce back then. Not bad. All right, now this pumpkin cream cheese pie, let me crack this for you here. It's very messy. There is plenty of cinnamon sugar from top to bottom, but as you guys can see there is the filling on the inside. Looks like 2 strips of that goodness down the middle right there. Lots of hollowness though, that's the only thing, but a decent amount. That's probably a better shot for you. You've got that spiced pumpkin puree goodness on the side there and some cream cheese filling to go with, and that turnover style crust, as you can see, is loaded with cinnamon and sugar. Let's give this a go. Very messy to break this apart in the car, guys. Let's go for that bite. And cream cheese is strong on this. It's almost a little too strong for me because typically pumpkin should be the dominant player with this one, with the cream cheese coming up as the accent. I mean, pumpkin is the first name in the title of this one, so I'm expecting it to be a little bit stronger. But it's a subtle spiced pumpkin puree, not super sweet. Most of the sweetness is coming from the cinnamon sugar, and the fried crispiness that's blending with that is actually very nice from the outside turnover style crust. But that cream cheese is super strong, guys. Super strong. Let me give you a little bit of a closer shot of that filling, guys. As you can see, it's a very decent amount and obviously wrapped in that dough. It's not a bad portion, I have to say, especially towards the end of it. The cracked piece that I did in the middle was a little bit more hollow on one side, but as you can see, this is pretty filled. Lots of that pumpkin goodness and of course that cream cheese, which is really lighting it up. But the highlight for me is actually the cinnamon sugar and that fried goodness on the outside with the turnover style shell, guys. It's actually very flavorful, and I have to admit, not bad. Considering it's a little on the small side, $1.29 is not bad for this, but nice quality in the overall flavor department. You know, this is kind of reminding me of that pumpkin and cream pie that I reviewed from McDonald's back in the day, which you guys can find in the upper right-hand corner of your display as well. But I have to say, that one was a little bit bigger in terms of the overall size, and I like the way it had like that lattice-type cut on the very top. This is more of like a traditional fried type of pastry, but it's smaller, but the quality of the pumpkin is good. I only wish it was just a little bit stronger compared to the overall flavor of the cream cheese. I'm not really a super cream cheese fan, but that flavor is really standing out above the pumpkin. But it's tasty, guys, it really is. I wanted to bite off a piece of this crust from the second half to give you a better idea of that other piece that I broke off for you guys. And as you can see, it still has a very decent amount of filling. It's the middle that tends to be a little bit higher and a little bit more hollow, but the ends are definitely packed with the goodness here. So very nice quality on this one, but considering the size, I'd probably recommend getting 2 if you're a pumpkin fan. It is a little on the small side, like I said, but if you like cinnamon and sugar, this thing is absolutely loaded with it. I mean, just look at the amount that's all over my fingers. This is definitely lit up very nice. All right, so I gotta be honest, this Wild Honey Mustard Boneless Wings promo feels like a little bit of a holdover to what I think may be the actual promo coming next month with something brand new, but it's nice to see the return of a sauce that they used in the past, along with the standard coating that they're used to over here, naturally throwing it into a box with a side of biscuit and making 7 boneless wings out of it. $5.99 is a pretty okay price for what you're getting there. And hey, if you love honey mustard, I think you know what to expect with this one, but when it comes to being wild, I probably wouldn't call it wild, I'd probably call it mildly excited, guys, because it's just a little spicy, but nothing crazy at all. So with that said, I'm going to have to give the Wild Honey Mustard Boneless Wings here at Popeyes just an okay 7.5 out of 10. There's really nothing new with this one, guys. Aside from the flavor being pretty familiar with honey mustard and a little bit of spiciness added to it, it's really the promotional thing of what it is in general and the price point being for what you get. But aside from that, it's just all right. And when it comes to that pumpkin cream cheese pie, that's going to get a pretty solid 8.3 out of 10. The only thing that really hit this one for me, at least personally, was the fact that the cream cheese was a little bit stronger than the actual pumpkin. The size being what it is a little bit of a factor. I mean, $1.29, I know it's small, but at the same time, it could be just a little bit bigger for the money with a little bit more flavor in the pumpkin department. I mean, pumpkin is the first name in the title, right? But overall, a definite sweet treat, and being that I'm a fan of pumpkin, I really was glad to check that out. In addition to these Wild Honey Mustard Boneless Wings, it was a pretty fun promo to check out today. Now the question is, are you going to check any of these out? Drop some comments down below. Are you going to be heading over to Popeyes to give any of these a try? And if you are, what are you most excited to give a shot first? I mean, hey, are you the dessert type that needs to go in on something like that before the main meal? Because I know there's a lot of peeps out there who are like that. Drop those comments down below and definitely let me know. And with that, this is Ian K closing out another episode of Peep This Out, bringing you brand new content every single week here on my channel. So while you stay tuned for the next review coming real soon, In the meantime, stay frosty. Hey Popeyes, since we're going back to the well with some of these promos, what do you say we bring back the Magnolia Blossom Chicken? If you guys haven't seen what that is, make sure to hit that playlist in the upper right-hand corner of your display. It was pretty bomb. All right guys, until next time, I'll talk to you soon. But hey, real quick before you go, and just in case you haven't already, take a look at the last review that I put out right up over here, along with what I think YouTube's going to recommend for you to check out as well. As always, I think you'll find something to like in both of them, and I'll definitely catch you in the next one. See ya.